In the studio tonight, we finally got in the Nuphy Air60 V2. Now the Air60 V2 is the most compact mechanical keyboard that Nuphy make, and it was the first Nuphy keyboard that we ever got in and reviewed. And I absolutely love this keyboard. Now the V2 version has a load of new features, such as flip out feet via software and a load of changes to the build quality that they've been carrying out on the Halo range throughout the year. So here we go, let's unbox it and take a look. So opening it up, we get the usual quick start guide, which also has stickers and I believe a poster. The keyboard itself, which is in a little bag, we'll have a look at that in a second. A cable. Oh wow. We've got a Nuphy cable. Now this is nice, this is something they've done new for this year. Not only is it a new colour, so you've got the Nuphy green and the greys there, but you've got a short USB-C to USB-C and a longer USB-A to a right-angled USB-C, depending on how you want to set this up with your laptop or computer. The Nuphy switch and keycap puller. And again, new for this year, they've actually branded it with the colours. I do really like that. And then lastly, we've got a couple of little boxes. Let's open those up. What have we got here? So we've got a range of switches, so you can swap out the switches you've chosen with some of these others to test. We've also got our 2.4 gigahertz dongle. Now you'll notice that on the Air range, because it's so slim, they can't put this inside the keyboard. So what they basically do is there's your dongle. So you can clip this little holder onto your actual cable. So you can keep the dongle safe when you're not using it. So if you want to plug it in and have it wired, you're not losing that dongle. And then when you want to just take the cable away, you can just plug your dongle in, move it up to the side. So it's a nice way so you don't lose this little dongle, because I have lost a lot of dongles over the past few years. And then the other. There we go. We've got the alternative keycaps if you want to switch it from Mac to Windows. One of the things I do love about the Nuphy keyboards is the fact that it comes with a Mac layout, but you can change it to Windows if you wish. I don't like the ones that come with the dual layout, so you've got Windows and Mac on the same keycap. I'd much rather change them out myself. So the keyboard comes in 3 colour options: the Ionic White that we have here today, a Basalt Black, and the Lunar Grey. Now I'm really looking forward to actually getting the white one in. We had the Basalt in the Air75, so here you can see the difference not only in the size between the 75 and the 60, but also the colourway between the actual white and the black. But I'm really looking forward to this in the white. I think it's such a crisp, clean look. Now, I've also got the low linear light travel switches, which can be perfect for gaming. And I do plan on actually using this for a mobile gaming PC keyboard. And that'll be coming in on a build that I'm doing very, very soon. But just straight away, again, as usual, the sound and the feel is amazing on these keyboards. Now, I have had some low-profile mechanical keyboards like from Razer and Logitech in the past. They always sound and feel terrible. When you use something like a Nuphy, they just feel amazing, whether you get the Halo range or these low-profile. And I must admit, I am liking these light linear switches. I don't know if I would want it for typing, but for gaming, I think that could be absolutely amazing. Now, you can see that we're set up at the moment. We've got the Mac keys set. We've got the white keys with sort of the grey surrounds. I think it does look great. If we lift the keyboard up, you can see now we have a couple of buttons at the top. You've got the Windows to Mac switch, which is very handy, so you can change it rather than a hotkey, just one switch at the top to change between Windows or Mac mode. We've also got off, wired or wireless. Now you can use that with a 2.4 gigahertz dongle or with Bluetooth, whichever you prefer. You can see there's nothing on either side except for a USB-C connector at the side here, which is why they've given us the right-angled cable, so it's not sticking out the side of the keyboard. Nothing on the bottom. And then as we look to the back, you'll notice you get the usual sort of standard rubber without any of the feet sticking up, which is quite good, so it still stays nice and solid on your desk without the feet up. And we do get 2-stage adjustable feet now, which is something we didn't get on the original Air60. They came with some little blocks that you put on to lift up the incline. I did hate that because it's so easy for me to lose these things. Now having proper feet, that's so much easier. And I usually have mine at quite a high angle. And then lastly, we do get the nice metallic plates, and we've got this sort of the clear sort of polycarbonate base, so you can just about see through there to the back of the PCB. Now, if we switch it on, hopefully you'll be able to see the RGB lighting. Now, these are low profile PBT keycaps, so they are not shine through, but the lighting will come out around the keys themselves. But the good news is Nuphy do actually offer shine through keycaps on the website when you order the keyboard, but the shine through keycaps are ABS, not PBT, so they won't feel quite as nice. But if you do want that shine through option, it is available. And as well as the actual shine through keycaps, they do offer some other customized keycaps. And one of the best things with this tiny little case, you can get the new folio, which is a nice little cover for your keyboard if you want to transport it. And not only does it protect the keyboard when you're transporting it, but it also acts as a stand for your phone or your tablet if you want to use this keyboard with those on the go. So what I'm going to basically do now is I'm going to quickly just plug this into my Mac, get the VS software up and running, and then we're going to start testing it and testing some of the different switches and have a look at the keycaps. So we're up and running now. I've got my MacBook here in front of me and I've connected the Air60 V2 via Bluetooth. Now the lights have all come onto the keyboard, but it's quite bright so you may not see it, so we'll do some lower light shots in a minute. But the actual behind all the keys are RGB on a wave pattern out of the box, and either side of the keyboard again is a nice RGB wave. But if I put my caps lock on, you'll notice that the left one will turn blue for caps, and will also change color depending on whether I'm in Bluetooth, wired, or 2.4 gigahertz. So if I do function and R, which is my 2.4, you notice it's gone green. I haven't got that plugged in, so if I go back to my Bluetooth, it's flashing blue, and we're now connected. Now the RGB on the right, by default, it'll be showing your wave effect, which does look nice, but if you press function and the back arrow, it will then put you into the battery indicator strip. As you can see now, I'm on showing as yellow. That's sort of in use midway. When it goes to red, you know you need to charge it back up. And when it's fully charged, it goes to green. So it's a nice way to see what the battery life is on the fly, and then just function backslash, I'm back to my rainbow wave again. Now all the RGB for the backlighting of the keyboard and the left and right strips can be controlled via the hotkeys on the keyboard, so function and the cursor keys can control the brightness and the effects, but you can now also adjust it in the VS software, which is really handy, the brightness and the key mapping. Now the great news is this VS software can be used on Mac, Linux or Windows, whereas the previous V1, you only had the console version working in Windows. Now another thing to sort of take into consideration if you're buying this really compact 60 mode is the key layout. Now they have made this incredibly compact, but we do get no function keys. Now I'm using it in Mac mode, so rather than having function keys, I've actually got the multimedia keys. So if I want to use the multimedia keys, I have to press function and say like 1 and 2 for my brightness on my Mac. And you'll notice that as I'm set to Mac, they will be the proper Mac function keys as you'd expect if you were using your MacBook itself. So that is really nice to have. There are other keyboards that have their own multimedia keys instead. I much prefer having it sort of remapped to the proper Mac ones. Now when you switch it to the Windows mode, by default when you press the function and the number, it will give you the actual function command, which is what you'd expect when you're in Windows. Now if you do want those dedicated multimedia or function keys, then that's when you need to maybe spring up to the Air60 V2. We have already done a review on this keyboard. I will put it in the link down below as well in case you missed it. But the Air60 is bigger. Now because of the extra depth of this Air60, we get a full dedicated function row, which on the Mac mode will default to the function keys within Mac OS. You can obviously then do function to get the function number keys. And if you put it to the Windows mode, you'll get dedicated function keys, and the function will give you the multimedia keys within Windows. So if you do plan on using the multimedia keys or the function keys a lot of the time with your keyboard, you may want to step up to the Air60 over the Air60. But this Air60 is, as you can see, a lot more compact, both in the width and the depth of the keyboard. And another thing to note, looking between these two of these keyboards, with the Air60, you do get some of the sort of the command keys down the side, such as page up, page down, delete, home and end, which can be quite useful. And you get a larger shift key. Now you may notice on the Air60, we do get a very small shift key here. You soon get used to it, but I do prefer the larger shift key on the Air60 V2. So this is something that you need to consider if you go into the ultra compact Air60 V2. Now, one of those lovely features with this really compact Air60 V2, which shows you how compact it can be, is I have a MacBook here, and this keyboard will literally sit directly over the top of my Mac's keyboard, and you can actually type from this position. So if you want to use this instead of your laptop keyboard and you don't want to push your Mac back to push the other key in front of it, you can sit it directly on top and type. It's so compact but well designed enough that if you're sitting it on top of the laptop, it sits just either side of the keyboard tray, so that you're not going to get any accidental presses or damage of the original laptop keyboard, but you've still got a clear area for the speakers. But then now gives me the ability, with my low profile mechanical keyboard, to have a very nice typing experience on top of the actual MacBook itself. And that's something that a lot of people do buy this Air60 for. Now we've looked around the actual keyboard itself, I'm going to take some of these keycaps off. We're going to take a look at these alloy switches. Now this is a complete hot swappable keyboard, so if you're not happy with the switches that you've bought, you can very easily take them straight out and put some others in. Now this year with the Air60 V2, we've got double shot PBT keycaps. These are very sturdy, very solid, and a nice improvement over the original V1s. And as you can see, they come off nice and easily, and we can see the switches down below. Now, looking at the colour, you can see these are the alloy switches. They are incredibly light. This is definitely the lightest switch I've used in a keyboard. Now, having typed on this for a little while, I don't think I would buy these for typing, and I do often use reds for typing with no issue. These are just incredibly light. But if you plan on using one of these for maybe a mobile gaming keyboard, this has been absolutely fantastic. And I must admit, I actually want to use this Air60 on a mobile gaming build that I'm currently working on, and I think this will work perfectly. Still sound and feels fantastic, and I'm just going to quickly show you. Let's just turn it off for a second. It's very easy to pull these switches right out, and once you've taken your switch out, you can just press in another switch. So there we go, we just pushed a new switch in, that's now working. Now, with these keyboards, you get a great array of switches. As you can see, it's all customizable when you order it. You've got the red twos, the blue twos, the brown twos, the alloys that I've got, the wisteria, the Cadbury's currently out of stock, but we've had that in my Air60 V2, and that has been a fantastic switch. I've really enjoyed for a typing keyboard. And then lastly, the heavy mosses. Now, we tried those last year, and it is a very heavy key press, but if you're a heavy typer, that might be a nice switch for you as well. Now, as I mentioned earlier on, if you do want the shine-through keycaps, you can add these for an extra $19. They are then ABS, so they won't feel anywhere near as the level of sort of weight and high quality feel of the double shot PBTs. These are so thick, they're very difficult to shine through these keycaps, which is why they don't even bother. Whereas the ABS ones, they're a little bit thinner, they shine through very nicely. So if you do want the shine through letters on your sort of RGB keyboard itself, make sure you add those shine through keycaps. Personally, I don't mind the fact that it shines through around. I love the look of it, especially in low light environments. And let's obviously see it as I've taken the actual keycaps off. You can see it shining around the actual switch there, and it does look fantastic still. Now, before I do a very quick typing test, I do want to mention that with the improvements that we've had on the V2 this year, not only is it now working at 1000 Hertz polling rate when you're wired or via the 2.4 gigahertz, which would be much better for me when I'm using it for gaming, but with the usual Nuphy sort of build quality and sound dampening, the sound profile on these keyboards is truly excellent, which you'll hear in a second. So not only has it got a lot of sound dampening material on the inside of the keyboard, but even when you say you remove the space bar, we've even got the sort of the silicon dampeners underneath the space, like we had on the Halo range for that ghost bar, which gives it a much better sound profile when you're hammering that space bar. It does feel much, much nicer when you're typing, and it sounds really, really lovely. Right then, so I think the last thing I really want to do before we sign off from this actual review is do a very quick sound test of this keyboard with the typing. Now, as I mentioned, this is the alloy switch. This is a very, very light linear switch, and I don't think it's been the best typing experience because it is incredibly light, but we'll do a typing test anyway. So before we look at the conclusion, I want to mention the battery life. Now this model has an improved battery, and it can have up to 90 hours of battery life of working typing time with the lights on, or up to 150 hours with the lights switched off. That's not bad at all, and then very easy to charge by the included cable. And I just want to answer a question I get asked regularly on any of the Nuphy or wireless mechanical keyboards. With a 2.4 GHz dongle, we get no issues at all with interference, and we even tested it across our large office at about 5 meters with this dongle and had no missed keys or dropouts at all. Obviously you won't get that with Bluetooth, but if you use this 2.4 GHz dongle, you get rock solid, decent wireless performance. So that takes me through to the conclusion. And this Air60 V2 is a really great upgrade over the V1. We've got improved keycaps, we've got a great range of switches, better battery life, 1000 Hz polling rate, finally VIA customization that works in Windows, Mac and Linux. Plus we've got all the improvements that Nuphy have worked on the Halo range for the last year, such as the now flip out feet, which I thought was impossible with a keyboard this thin, the improved dampening material not only inside the keyboard but around the actual spacebar for the ghost bar itself. It leads to an absolutely excellent premium, very compact wireless keyboard. And I love the fact that not only can you just chuck this in your bag and take it everywhere with you, but you can just literally flip the feet down and put it on your MacBook and type away actually on your laptop. This truly is a fantastic device. Now Nuphy have kindly given us a 10% discount code. I will put it in the description down below, but literally it will take 10% anything off your basket. You just use the MASH10 code at the checkout. If you've got any questions, pop it in the comment section and I will get back to you. And lastly, thanks for watching.